Comic Book Savant, episode 399. On the way to 400, y'all. On the way to 400. Just one more. Welcome back to the Comic Book Savant. I'm your host, James Harris. This episode, we're going to be doing a countdown episode where we're going to run down my favorite Marvel Netflix series from worst to first. But before we get into that, as always, I'd like to give a shout out to my friends over at the Comics Podcast Network. You can find them over at comicspodcast.com. If you like this show and you want to find more comic book related material, it is the best place you can go online to find similar content. It's literally hundreds of creators listed there at this point. So definitely, if you have a moment, definitely check it out over at comicspodcast.com for the Comic Book Podcast Network. And last but not least, I'd like to give a shout out to my friends over at InStockTrades.com. They helped sponsor this episode. They have one of the best selections when it comes to collected editions, manga, omnibuses, absolute editions, Marvel Masterworks, you name it. If it's a bound collected edition, you can find it over at InStockTrades.com. They have one of the biggest selections, and they have some of the best discount prices you can find pretty much anywhere on the internet. They have discounts ranging from 35, 42, up to 50% off. They also have, if you're a US-based customer, if you're based in the US, they have, if you place an order $50 or more, they have free shipping. If you happen to not be a US-based customer, they do ship internationally, and they have some of the most competitive international shipping rates around. So you still can partake on the great savings that they offer. They also update their webpage every Tuesday afternoon with their homepage with their deals of the week. They spotlight a handful of books that they discount for 50% off. So you can definitely save a ton off those omnibuses and collected editions through those spotlighted books, those deals of the week. So definitely you want to check that out. And if you ever order from InStockTrades.com, another cool thing they do that some people don't talk about is that you get on a mailing list. So they have other sales for loyal customers that have placed orders with them that you will get alerted on this periodically during the month after you place initial orders with them. So then you can also get additional savings in which you see on the site as being kind of like an in-stock trade insider. So that's one thing to look forward to too, that you can even save a few more dollars off each purchase you make through them, which is something awesome that they offer. Like I said, most people don't talk about it, but it's something that's there that is an awesome benefit if you do check out InStockTrades.com. And if you do, let them know that you heard about them here first on the Comic Book Savant podcast. Now, with all that out of the way, let's jump into this episode. I had been thinking about this. We just came off of Iron Fist Season 2, which I just recently reviewed. And coming in less than a month, we have Daredevil Season 3 coming. It's going to drop October 19th. So we're 3 weeks away from that dropping at this point. So I wanted to do it at this juncture. We've had, quite a few seasons of the different shows. We've had 2 seasons of each show drop now, for the exception of The Punisher, which I think won't be coming until next year at this point, because I don't know when they would drop it in this year, unless they drop it in December. If Daredevil's dropping in October, I mean, it's a possibility. They haven't said anything as of yet on a release date. I know it's either filming or or Punisher's already been shot. So we might get it by year's end. I thought Daredevil was actually originally supposed to come out in December to kind of go up against Aquaman when that drops in December. Maybe we're going to get Punisher in December now, and that, but because the original thing that they kind of announced, where they were kind of teasing, was Daredevil was coming in December. But we recently got an update that that's going to be coming out next month, which is cool for me because I love the Marvel Netflix shows. I gobble them up. Like I said, I normally watch them that initial weekend they're released. So, partially because I review them, but partially because they're literally like the only thing I really watch on Netflix is when a new series drops. I'm always hyped when I get a new series coming down the pike. It's like I watch the Marvel Netflix series and Voltron Legendary Defender, like the two main shows. Like I can't wait for each new season, and I'm kind of bummed because Voltron Legendary Defender, the next season that drops, that's going to be coming, I think in November, I want to say, will be the last season of that. So then I only have the Marvel Netflix shows, and I got to wait every few months before I get a new one of these. So I'm kind of good that they're coming a little bit closer together. So my hopes is we do get Punisher by the end of the year, and then we'll actually have a full completed season 2 on all the seasons. And Daredevil, since it was the first, we're on the third going into the fourth. And they've really stepped up. They really have stepped up and have done a great job with all the series. They've had hiccups along the ways, which has been duly noted and we've discussed. But it's cool to kind of see where these land for me now with, like I said, for the exception of Punisher, having 2 full seasons of each one of the core 4 shows that were originally announced at this point now. So for me, my least favorite would be Iron Fist Season 1. We've talked about it in detail. I did a whole spoiler episode where I went into it. Still to date for me, it is the weakest season of any of the Marvel Netflix shows to date, period. It was just abysmal. It was a few saving graces in it, but all in all, it was not good. Next for me would have to be The Defenders, Season 1. And I guess that's where, basically from what we heard to this point, we're not getting another Defender season, or at least not anytime soon. I think it kind of, for all the different shows to be a build up to this culmination of the Defenders, it really was kind of mediocre. It was better than Iron Fist Season 1, but it wasn't too much better than it, because just having all these great characters come together in their individual first seasons, for the most part, were relatively strong, especially for, of course, Daredevil, which had 2 seasons under its belt at that point, which has been the best show to date. It's been the standard bearer for the whole line of the Marvel Netflix series. And you had Luke Cage Season 1, which wasn't. I enjoyed the season overall. The first half was better than the second half. And then we had him being almost half of the first season of Jessica Jones. So he was very well established at this point as well. Jessica Jones had a season under her belt. And it just didn't mesh the way they didn't play into the characters and the way I think we kind of wanted to see them. And it just felt very awkward and very ill-conceived as a concept of what the Defenders were going to be. I would have thought they would have had that fleshed out from the beginning, but it felt very ill-conceived and just very contrived and thrown together, how they came together and how they interacted with one another. It was some nuggets in there that they didn't play up as much as they should have been, and we haven't seen really any mention of the Defenders in Luke Cage Season 2 and Jessica Jones Season 2. Brief mentions of it are, it was probably brought up more in the repercussions of actions that happened at the ending of the Defenders in Iron Fist Season 2 and probably Luke Cage Season 2, because of what happened with Misty Knight, with her losing her arm, and Danny providing her the mechanical arm. So that was played up and played out more in Iron Fist Season 2. But far as anything else, I guess we had the brief cameo from Foggy in Luke Cage Season 2, which was the best. I think one of the best cameos in all of Luke Cage Season 2 was the episode with Foggy in it. But they really didn't follow up anything, and I think they knew it didn't play the way they wanted to play, so they kind of tried to distance themselves by pretty much it was the thing that happened but didn't happen. It's kind of how I feel as a fan, that the Defenders is the dirty little secret that we don't talk about, kind of thing. So that's my next, like I said, so we have Iron Fist Season 1, Defenders Season 1 as my least favorite, Iron Fist Season 1. Next on the list, Defenders Season 1. My next one, least favorite, would be Luke Cage Season 1. Like I said, the first half with Mahershala Ali was phenomenal. They shouldn't have killed him off so soon. Spoilers, if you haven't seen it, it's a couple of years old at this point. We've had a whole Season 2. And like all the air and the momentum that he built in those 6 episodes, and his chemistry with Michael Coulter was phenomenal as well. So once they just killed him off so quickly, it just deflated the show entirely. I would have loved to have had him stay on the show and kind of had him as a foil somewhat. How I can't pronounce his name. The guy that plays Kingpin from Law and Order. How his Kingpin stayed around, they didn't kill him off. I think he was as Mahershala Ali was like as equivalent to Kingpin in Harlem to Luke Cage, and I thought he would have been an interesting, character and foil to have that had kept around. So it's kind of sad that he got killed off so soon. And, and it felt like they, as showrunners, didn't know what to do with, they had the Mariah character to kind of take his place, but they didn't have a full handle on her to the second season. So it deflated that whole second end of the first season of the show, which was unfortunate. But like I said, they made up for it, I feel like, majorly in the second season of Luke Cage. Vincent D'Onofrio. I hope I'm just murdering it today, and I do apologize. But he was equivalent to him as far as his impact on screen and his chemistry with our protagonist as an antagonist. So it was a big blow to the show, and I think they had to adjust accordingly because of that. I think they realized that, of course, Mahershala Ali blew up from Moonlight and everything else that he was in after that. But they could have had him, they could have had him tied into this show for seasons to come, and they kind of they didn't see that all the way through. You know what I'm saying? They dropped the ball on that one, because he would have been a good addition that had kept on Luke Cage. But you win some and you lose some. It is what it is. Next for me is Jessica Jones season 1. I think it's decent. I personally, though, a lot of people. Here's the thing: Jessica Jones season 1 is good. It's even great. It is just a train wreck to watch. It emotionally wrecks you, because they make you feel and go through like all the emotions of this woman that's dealing with PTSD, how she had this man literally control her mind and make her do things against her will, and they made you feel that. And just the Purple Man effect on people, some of the scenes of the visuals associated with it, it was like a wreck. Like it was like one of the hardest seasons to get through, not because it was bad. It was just because it was so visual, and it took you personally, on an emotional journey. You felt what she felt. You felt all her pain, and you understood everything that she went through. They put you in that headspace. So it was heavy. It was very, very heavy. And it's, I haven't went back and rewatched any of these seasons. I thought about rewatching Luke Cage before season 2. I just didn't get around to it. It's just hard rewatching anything when, I'm producing so much content. Like, I gotta budget my time efficiently, and still I'm a husband and grandparent and everything else, so it's kind of like hard. I kind of at times I want to, but now too they're pumping out this content more and more frequently because it's demand for it. So I got to keep up with the next new thing, so I can't kind of go back at this point. I don't have time to slow down to go back to it, but it was hard. It was one of the hardest watches, and I feel like it was Iron Fist was hard to get through, but Jessica Jones was just as hard, if not harder, to get through just from the weight of it all. It was very heavy. Iron Fist season 1 was just bad. Jessica Jones wasn't bad. It was just very heavy, very emotionally draining once you got through that season. Then for me, my next pick on the countdown list is Daredevil Season 2. I didn't like it as much as some people. To date, I always think if judging season 2 over season 1, I like season 1 better than I like season 2. And it had a lot of balls to juggle because you had to introduce the Punisher, which I thought those first 4 episodes were phenomenal, and the last few episodes were good. It was the stuff in the middle with the Hand and with Elektra that kind of lost me. It dragged out a little bit too much for me, and it lost steam, and it kind of made me lose interest a little bit. So I think that the last 2 episodes kind of finished up the Punisher kind of storyline. So the first 4 and the last 2 kind of were good. The stuff in the middle was in between. It was kind of in between. There was so much going on, and like I said, I didn't care as much for the Hand storyline and the Elektra influence and all that going on in it as much as other people. Some people think it's better than season 1. I always go season 1 over season 2 for Daredevil, for me personally. Next up would be Luke Cage Season 2. We just not too long ago got season 2. I've heard some people be very negative against the latter Marvel Netflix stuff. I felt like they made a huge correction from Luke Cage season 1. You could tell they definitely listened, and I think I was surprised in watching it that it went in a total direction that I wasn't expecting in the show, and it has me so psyched up for season 3. Now, if you haven't had a chance to watch it, this is going to be a light spoiler here, but they kind of take Luke down a weird path where it appears that he's kind of going to turn into a villain, or he's going to have a bout with struggling between the light and the dark from all the events that happened in season 2. Like I said, it totally took him and the character from where he started in that first episode. Well, really, if you go back to our introduction to Luke into way back in Jessica Jones season 1, that whole journey we've seen with Luke from when we first saw him in Jessica Jones to now, I didn't see it going quite this way. And it was kind of shocking, and it was a twist it would happen. You saw it happening slowly through the episodes, and it was an interesting turn. Like I said, it was something I didn't expect. I really loved Bushmaster, the introduction of him. I hope we get to see more of him in season 3. He was a very dynamic. I don't even know if he was a villain as much as he was he was something. I don't know if he was a villain or was he an anti. He was kind of. They can kind of make him like a Punisher character, even if you wanted to. He's a very interesting, dynamic character, and I really enjoyed the character, and I hope we get more of him down the road. And then for me, my next one on the list is Jessica Jones season 2. I liked them filling in the holes. There was so many holes in and Jessica's memory based of the car accident and things that she remembered and flashbacks we caught in the first season. They really straightened that out. They introducing her mother, that whole storyline, her really seeing, not just assuming and it being alluded to, seeing her history with Patsy as well, and her stardom and how dark places she was and why their relationship and their sisterhood is the way it is. Very intriguing, and it answered so many questions, and it made me sympathize with the Jessica character even more. And I feel like Christine Ritter really put ownership in this season on that character. I question her being cast in the role. When I reviewed the first season, and there's no question, she owns Jessica Jones now for me. I can't see anybody else playing her right now. She really showed her acting chops throughout this season and really invested me. I couldn't even think, after all the tragic stuff we saw her go through, and see why her attitude is the way it is. Now I understand the character. I don't just sympathize or feel sorry for her now. I understand what makes her tick, and I love the character for her inside and out, all her ugly bits. She made me love the character. And that's good acting. You know what I'm saying? That's just good acting. Just flat out. Next is Iron Fist Season 2. Yes, it is making my top 3. I can't believe it. But Iron Fist Season 2 was freaking phenomenal. If you haven't watched it, people have been sleeping on this one and haven't really stopped to check it out. You are doing yourself a disservice if you haven't watched Iron Fist Season 2 yet. I've never seen, and I've watched a lot of television. I'm a big TV head. I'm more into comics and movies, but I've watched my share of TV over the years and been diehard fans of shows. I don't think I have ever seen such a dramatic turn in a show, from going from worst to first. You hear about it in sports all the time, a team going from worst to first. Well, this show went from worst to one of the top shows. It's really jumped ahead of some other shows for me. Now if they only can maintain the momentum they gathered from season 2 going into season 3, but as long as they keep the new showrunner, I've seen him do a couple of interviews. This dude is legit, and he is all about making this show the best show it possibly can be. So as long as they keep him around, I am all in on where they're going, and just the cliffhangers they left, the seeds they left for where the show was going to be going in season 3. I'm I'm all in. I don't think I was ready for it at all, but I'm so down. What is it? Raven Metzner is the new showrunner. It was Scott Buck who created or was the original showrunner, but they brought in Raven Metzner for the second season, and he really refined a lot of things just in the production of it, and just overall he had a really good handle on it. And Typhoid Mary, OMG, I'm not saying any more. Typhoid Mary and the power of the fist. That's all I can say. If you don't know, you won't know, but I'm telling you now, you better watch season 2 if you don't do anything else. If you don't even watch season 1, I don't even care if you watch season 1 of Iron Fist, because it sucks. I'll go ahead and tell you, it was not too much good to watch in it. Just watch season 2. So you don't even have the bad taste in your mouth that I had. I had to do it because I reviewed it for y'all guys, so I take the hit for you. So I tell you now, don't watch Iron Fist season 1 because it's garbage. Watch season 2 because it's a gem. How about that? That's my recommendation. My number 2 pick is Punisher season 1. I've always loved the Punisher, and I've tried to understand and get a handle on why I've always loved this mega dark character. And I think much as I'm a fun person, I have a dark side to my personality, and I've always identified with Frank's pain. and what could motivate him to go the route he went. And I understand it and I respect it. I know it's wrong. I know it's bad, but I understand it and I respect his undying, relentless pursuit of what he thinks is right, no matter what anybody else thinks. I identify with it and I understand it. I don't know why. I always have. And that's what always has intrigued me with the character. I don't know if that says too much about myself that I do or not, but it's something that's always drawn me to this character. And I didn't necessarily know if John Bernthal was the right person for him. From what I saw in Daredevil, this season was just, he owns it. He owns it. Like they do such a great job in casting people. Like, he is Punisher for me now. Like, live action, he's the Punisher. Just like, you have Chris Hemsworth as Thor. You have Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow. Like, you got Kristen Ritter as Jessica Jones. Like, they are these individuals for me now. Like, they are just that. He's him through and through, attitude, execution, the whole nine. Now, I feel like one thing that John brings to the Frank Castle character that we never normally get in the comic character of the Punisher is a slight charm to his character and a little bit more of the humane side of Frank Castle. We got that, which he makes him feel a little bit more real and less cartoony and less comic booky, because he feels like a fully realized three-dimensional character, not just a murder machine that we kind of get at times in the comics, depending on who writes the character. You get that humanity in him and that man driven to the edge. This portrayed well in John, and John understands that about the character. And you just see points where he interacts with I can't remember the guy's family, but he interacts with his wife and his kid. Like, you see that, and you can see how he could be a father and how he could be a husband, and that he wasn't a perfect one, and he realizes his mistakes and they kind of haunt him. He brings just such a great humanity and softness to such a hard character to balance him out, to make him feel like a very much real character, that it could be a Frank Castle out there in the real world right now. And that's, again, just good acting. Last but not least, is it any wonder it's the one that started them all? It's Daredevil Season One. It was hard when I was looking at these three to pick, but it's the one that started it all. And all the other shows have borrowed so much as far as format, structure, everything, to what they started in Daredevil Season One. Everyone has borrowed so many people have copied the long running shot fight scene down the hallway from the first what was it, the first episode or the second episode, one of the first episodes, and so much stuff has been borrowed from it, and it just is great. I like that build up to finally seeing him at this suit in the very end, and it looks like they're getting away from the suit. Or from, I just watched another trailer for season 3 that announced that it was coming out October 19th, where you see him back in just the black outfit, which I kind of have to admit I like a little bit better than I like the more Daredevil costume. And it was funny how all the other heroes kind of picked with him like he was the only one in a suit, and they were all kind of like dressed in street clothes or dressed down compared to him. So I kind of like they're stripping him back down to basics for at least the time being. So that's interesting, but I still think it's the OG, the greatest great for me right now. So I'm totally hype about seeing that shortly, and where they're going to go with that in the future. Like I said, it seems like they're doing a born again storyline in this. We still don't get we saw some brief snippets in this most recent trailer, and it kind of got me hyped that we're going to have it sooner than later. So like I said, it's like 2.5, 3 weeks to that drops, and I'm all over it. So that review will be forthcoming. So be on the lookout for that. But that is my worst to first. Let's go to run it back down quickly. We have Iron Fist Season 1 as my worst. The Defender Season 1. Luke Cage Season 1. Jessica Jones Season 1. Daredevil Season 2. Luke Cage Season 2. Jessica Jones Season 2. Iron Fist Season 2. The Punisher Season 1. And Daredevil Season 1 as my best or my favorite. So from worst to first, that's the rundown, guys. That's all I really have for you guys in this episode. Don't forget, as always, follow, if you haven't already, check out the YouTube channel. It is youtube.com /Comic Book Savant. So you can check out the content there if you haven't already. I'm trying to get to that 300 subscribers by the end of the year. I know it's a big ask because I'm not even at 150 yet. I think I'm at 135. So I still got a ways to go. So if you have a moment, hit up that YouTube channel. Again, youtube.com /Comic Book Savant, and subscribe to the channel. All brand new content coming on there. Fresh stuff. I have the ongoing series that I'm doing, which is the Comic Book Collector's Guide. So if you are new to collecting comics, if you're not new, it's just a kind of resource, love letter to comic book collecting, the comic book hobby, do's and don'ts. It's a signature series that I do specifically for the YouTube channel. I'm having a lot of fun with. I'm getting a lot of great feedback from it. So definitely, if you haven't subscribed yet, go over, subscribe, and check that out. Also, hit up the website, comicbooksavant.com. You can shoot me any messages, comment, feedback from the links there. Also have the merch. Don't forget, I have the online store. If you go to the website, if you go to the support page, at the very bottom of the page, I have a link to the store. Follow me on social media. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Google+. I'm on all of those. Also, if you'd like to support the show, you can hit me up on Patreon. It is patreon.com /Comic Book Savant. You get some nice bonuses set up over there. If you get additional content, you get earlier access to episodes. If I get the shows recorded early, you get a few days, early access before they drop, and then you get the Comic Book Savant extra episodes that you only can get over on the Patreon. You get access to those from just pledging for $1 support a month. Just $1 goes a long way to support the show. So if you pledge just $1 a month to help support the show, you get access to that feed immediately with a $1 a month donation. And like I said, it helps me out tremendously. And last but not least, if you haven't already, check out the bookshelf link on the homepage of comicbooksavant.com. If you click the bookshelf, all the different stuff that I recommend in these episodes, that if you're interested in picking up or buying, I have an affiliate link set up on that page. So anything that I recommend, that I recommend for you guys to pick up, check out that page. I need your guys' help. I need to get 3 verified sales on there to get verified as a Amazon associate. I get a little kickback when you guys click that link and buy one of those things that I suggest. I only need 3 sales. I haven't gotten them as of yet. If I don't get it by this month, they'll cancel me, and I got to wait a few months, then reapply to try to get the affiliate link. Again, it's just one of the different things that I do to try to keep for asking you guys for stuff. So it's kind of like a win-win. You get to help me, and then you get some great comics, out of it. I have just various different links. I get a small percentage out of it. But again, you have to get 3 initial sales to get verified as one. They give you a trial period, and I'm still in a trial period. So anything you guys can do there to help, I greatly appreciate. Again, that's all I have for you guys for this week. I'll be back next week with another episode of Comic Book Savant. I appreciate you guys and everything you do, and I will see you guys next time. Have a good week. See you soon.